Nanny law is the term given to any law designed primarily to prevent an individual from harming him or herself, such as wearing seatbelts or using motorcycle helmets. The rationale often used to justify the intrusiveness is that they are worth it even if they only save one life. At what level do nanny laws become too intrusive?
Well, this is a very interesting subject because recently we just had a bill that restricted teenage driving and made it a little bit harder for teenage drivers to get their driver's license. I supported that bill. My opponent publicly did not support that bill. Intrusion, I do not believe in a lot of government intrusion into people's lives, but we do have to be able to look after people. The seatbelt law, absolutely. It saves children's lives. As far as motorcyclists wearing helmets, my dad fought for that bill originally in the House. He was at a legislative conference with several legislators, some who opposed it. They got hit by a motorcycle with no helmet. He came down and suffered permanent brain damage. They went back to the legislature and they passed that bill. So I believe that we shouldn't be too intrusive in people's lives, but where there's good data, and there is a lot of data about how seatbelts save lives, that we should implement those laws.
Thank you. Susanna?
Thank you. First, let me just clarify, Connecticut does not have a helmet law for motorcycles, so I'm not sure what my opponent was speaking about. But with regards to the graduated driver's license, I did not support this legislation. I did support the legislation a year ago. And while there were components to this legislation that I thought were great, such as doubling the amount of time that kids had behind the wheel, parent involvement, those are important pieces to this legislation. But the ramifications, are too punitive, and I was very concerned about that. I also was very concerned because we already knew that the previous law was having difficulties with enforcement. I had recommended and put in legislation that would have put a magnetic bumper sticker that said provisional driver, so that our police enforcement would be able to tell who those kids are that are underage. You know, anyone who's over 30 thinks that younger than that looks like they're 12. So this would have allowed our police enforcement to make the law have teeth.
Thank you.
Yes, the law I was referring to was repealed. My father was in the legislature in the late 60s and early 70s, and my opponent didn't live here then. Regarding the teenage driving laws about being too punitive, is anything too punitive to save a child's life? My son is 15 years old, and I dread the moment that he hits that highway, and I am all for it. It's far about being difficult to enforce, so is driving without a license, but it doesn't mean it shouldn't be illegal. Police officers are trained in observation, and they will be able to deal with the enforcement.
Yes, we all are very nervous when our children become new drivers. And we know that within the first 6 months, probably they'll have a fender bender. And hopefully it will just be a minor fender bender. One of the other things that we know, though, about adolescence is that it's the very nature of adolescence to rebel against strict laws, strict enforcement. And so I believe that we need to look at adolescence as a time to teach our children to develop responsibility, to allow them to make minimal mistakes that are not deadly. But the law that we passed in 2007 would have done that.
Okay, thank you. I'm afraid that's time.